We're down the beach today. We've got a rod out, you can see behind me, fishing, so we are fishing. But the main aim of being down here today is to do episode 2 of my Multiplier project. And today we're down here trying out the old and the new. So both rods are old rods, but you'll probably notice the one in my left hand I've had rebuilt. And the guy who's done it, Matt, in Eastbourne, has done a really good job of that, and I'll put some details on the in the information a bit later on about who's done that. And this is my old Zziplex 2500M, okay, which I will also get rebuilt, and so they will be both blinged up and they will both be matching. On the old rod, I've got my old Abu 65 CT, which if you watched episode 1, you'll have seen how I rebuilt that and put new bearings in it. We're going to see how that goes. It's probably going to bird's nest and crack off because it's really fast running now. And of course with this, because it's an old-fashioned reel with brakes, it's very hard to adjust that. So it's all or nothing really, and I might have to use the end of the friction on the bearings to actually slow it down a little bit until I've got the swing of it. The other reel that we're looking at today is a Fathom 2. Now it is the casting special, magnetically braked, okay, and they definitely work. We'll see how they work in a cast off the beach in a minute. We're going to wind them up slowly, so I'm only going to start off doing some gentle overhead casts, and then gradually, hopefully during the course of the day, as I learn or relearn the technique, then we will switch over to maybe trying to get some pendulum casts going on. But we'll see how that goes. This might turn into a crack off bird's nest fest, I warn you now, but let's hope not. So that's what we're going to be doing. So guys, we did a little bit of a live at the start of this introducing the film. Hope you saw that, and hope you're enjoying this. Thanks very much. Okay, so we're going to try the old out first. So I'm going to be using my old Zziplex 25M with an old Abu 65 CT on it. Obviously it's a braked reel, it's braked with brake blocks, not magnets. So the only way, I'm going to turn the friction up a little bit, just so it's not quite so free running for the first couple of casts, just till I get used to it. Now, I use a bit of inner tube rubber as a fob, and I hold that with my thumb over the reel to stop me getting a thumb burn. I know some people put a bit of rubber around their thumb. I'm not a great favourite of that, because it ends up covered in fish guts and God knows what else, and it's horrible. So that's what we're going to be doing, and we're going to be using this, the old 25M. Okay, and we're going to walk down there, and we're just going to do a couple of lazy overhead lobs just to get into the swing of it, see how the reel is tuned up. So that's what we're going to do now. So we're going to walk down and give that a go. Literally just an overhead lob. So the thumb fob goes over the top of the reel, I hold that in place, press the button, make sure I'm not wrapped round the end of the rod in any shape or form. And we're just going to do an overhead thump. Oh, and that runs out pretty nice. Really nice. A little bit of a run as it landed, but that's to be expected. So let's wind that in. Level winding it with my thumb. Trying to cotton reel it onto the spool as much as possible. That felt really nice. It didn't feel like it was lifting off the line, wasn't lifting or anything like that. Okay, let's give it another go. Button in, make sure I'm not wrapped around the end. And as soon as the lead hit down, I wasn't paying attention, and so I got a little bit of an overrun, but it's not a problem. We'll just feed that out. That was me not paying attention. Okay, and we'll sort that out. Okay, so because I wasn't watching the lead land, we did get a little bit of an overrun, but it's not a problem, we'll sort that out. We had a little bit of a bird's nest on the first reel there, so we're going to sort that out, but to save some time, we're going to go crack on straight with the second rod and the second reel. And now we're going to be using the Fathom 2. So much more modern reel, magnetic brakes, should prevent me getting a bird's nest like I did last time, but we'll see how that goes. And this is on my Zziplex pendeltec, which is a a far more powerful rod than the other Zziplex, and I've had it done up, so you can see it's very nicely blinged up now, which is how that rod will be shortly. Okay, so no more ado, let's get down and give this bad boy a cast. All right, so. Woo! That feels sweet. The trouble is, because I'm filming, I'm looking down at the spool instead of watching my lead, and that's why I'm getting a little overrun each time. And again, it's just getting back into the habit. I haven't cast a multiplier reel for over 20 years, so it's a new learning curve, really. Like I'm learning it from scratch. It's the shock leader. I'm using a tapered shock leader. So it going for 15 to 50 shock leader. Okay, another little gentle lob. You ready? Filming? Watch my leg go in that time, so not so much of a woo, we're going to have to move. That was obviously the 7th wave. Very smooth feeling. Right, before we do any more casting, we're going to have to move up the beach a little bit, I'm afraid. Yeah. Got a little bit of a birdie there. Maybe the magnets weren't turned all the way up. Maybe they were turned all the way down. So we're going to get brave now, and we're going to try a little off the ground cast. So lay the lead out. Make sure that I've got a hold of the spool, good grip on it with the finger fob. Okay, looking where I'm going to be casting, make sure my feet are positioned correctly, and let's go for it. Oh, that was lovely. That was lovely. Yeah, definitely, I think I've got the brakes sorted out now. Yeah, lovely. Right, thanks. We'll do another one of them in a minute. Okay, another little off the ground cast. Let's see how this goes. If it comes off right, we'll put some bait on this rod and we'll start fishing with it. Woo! Beauty. Beauty. It's all coming flooding back to me. Yeah, we'll put some baits on this one and we'll leave it fishing. Bring the other rod in with baits on, see if we've still got bait on there. And then we'll sort out the tangle on the first rod and we'll have a play with that until we get it right. But that is singing. That is singing. Right, the other thing that I'm trialling out here today is this bait thing by Innova. And I quite like it. I mean, I've heard very mixed views on it, but I like the idea that it's holding your baits up here so that you're not getting problems with dogs coming along and eating your bait. And I've already had a couple of dogs come along and have a sniff around, and I did tell the owners off. But the fact is that my bait's all up here. It's out of doggy reach, which is really good news, and I haven't got to be crouching down doing it. So I'm quite looking forward to using this on a night, actually, to work out some way of putting a light on it. I think that would be really good. Oh, got a fish on. I think we haven't blanked. Looks quite solid. Might just be that I've got a load of weed on, of course. But the rod tip was going. We'll see in a minute. Oh, no, it's fighting. It's going like a bass, actually. Woo! Oh, did I lose it? A conger eel! And a whiting. Well, there you go. That was quite unexpected. Quite unexpected. Eddie, you bring the camera down this way, mate. Or I'll come up to you. That was not expected. Little whiting and a little conger eel. So, happy man. So we haven't blanked.
Is that an eel?
Yeah.
That's a good one, isn't it?
Yeah, well, no, it's a little one really, but it's all right off the beach. Yeah, just in case there's any hooks here or anything, I don't want to get him to swallow a hook.
Look at that. Will you eat it?
No, I'm going to put it back.
Oh, yeah.
It wasn't what I was expecting, that's for sure. And that is a little whiting.
A whiting?
Yeah. Right, see if we can't pick up another conger eel. We're going to have 2 rods fishing in a minute, because we'll put the first of the multiplier rods out, and then we've got a bit of a bird's nest to sort out. Okay, well, it's taken me a while, but I've got the bird's nest out. So I'm going to have a little blast with my old rod with a CT on. I've had a couple of little gentle lobs on it, not on film, just to make sure I've got it all sorted out. But let's try a bit of an off-the-ground blast on it and see what happens. At least I'll get the crack off on film. So, finger fob, holding it down, make sure my feet are positioned right. Woo-hoo! Yeah, baby. Yeah, baby. Look at that. Considering I haven't cast off the beach for 20 years with a multiplier, well pleased with that. Well pleased with that. Right, you don't want to see me winding it in, it's boring. But you can see me level winding with my thumb. Getting the level wind going with the thumb. So here we go. Woo! Little bit of an overrun, but nothing serious. Oh, that is amazing. That is amazing. Well made up with that. Just getting the level wind going. Shall we try a pendulum cast? Last cast with this rod. Quick pendy. See how that goes. See if I can still remember how to do that. Why not? Can't do it while all these people are standing here. All right, let's stop the filming for a minute. Okay, so we're going to have the last cast with this. No, we're going to have the last 2 casts with this, and we're going to do a couple of pendulum chucks. See how we get on with that. So So hopefully that's all in shot. So it'll be the first pendulum cast I've done in a very long time. So it's probably going to be atrocious, but what the hey, what could go wrong? So up, back. So all of you critics out there, you can critique my pendulum cast, the timing and everything, and feel free to do so, because, as I said, it's over 20 years since I last swung a lead on the beach with a multiplier, with this rod, and frankly I'm quite pleased with what I just did. Let's see if I can't do one more. Can't do two more. Always say you're going to do two more, because if you say it's the last one, you know that will go wrong. So we'll do that, and then we're going to sit down and we're going to have a cup of tea. Should be seeing the shot leader any second now. Here it comes. I feel it going down the rod rings. There it is. One, two, voila! Okay, let's wind these rods in and check the baits. And then once we've done that, it's definitely time for a cup of tea. So we'll bring the fixed spool in first, see what we got on there. If there is, there's nothing big. Nice little place though, it'd be nice, although this is my bigger baited rod, so we never know, it might be some whiting on here, but whatever it is, it's not nodding or banging or anything. We'll see in a second. Nothing on there, nothing on there. Bait's been well chewed though. I think I might put another bait on there. Another bait on there, another bait on there. That's what I ought to have my bait elastic in here, aren't I, really? It's another one of my little slugs. So what we're using on this rod is basically, it's a bit of cuttlefish with a bit of black lug taped on the back of it, and I call them slugs because they look a bit like a garden slug. And now I've got this nice little platform to work off. Yeah, very actually. As I say, I've heard some mixed views on these, but so far I'm liking it. I'm liking it. Nice little work table to work from there. So bait elastic on. This really is a conger eel bass bait, and hopefully too big and tough for the whiting. That is the theory behind it. And it's a leave it out, chuck it and forget bait. Because you know, even if the whiting are ragging at it, there's a bit of bait survives. People walking past me thinking, what's that man talking to himself for? It's all for the tube. It's all on the tube. So this is a 2-hook paternoster, and I'm using a Trident rotor clip on the bottom, which again I've got mixed views on, but for this particular size hook and for this particular rig it works really well. I think smaller hooks dubious and bigger hooks don't go into the jaws of this thing properly, but this size hook is perfectly fitted for it, and it's a, I think that's a 4.0 Aberdeen on there, might be a 6.0 Aberdeen actually, and they work beautifully in that. Got a little circle hook at the top part of the panel just to hold it all straight. Then next, the swivel up there is a Cascade swivel, so that hooks into that little tiny tag on the Cascade and comes undone because the bottom hooks come undone. Come on, I just bigged you up, Mr. Trident Tackle, don't let me down now. I'd show you how to do this, but frankly there's so many videos on there talking about Trident Tackle now that I'm sure you can find one. I find it a bit fiddly. I quite like imps and I quite like the breakaway stuff actually. But like everything in fishing, I'm always trying something different, something new. Off the ground cast, looking up, and whoa! Right, winding the multiplier. Please, please, let's have my first fish on a multiplier in over 20 years. That would be rather cool. So, oh. It's a bit of weight on here actually, I have to say. There is a bit of weight on here. Something coming in. Yoo-hoo! So, the first fish on a multiplier in over 20 years on the beach for me, and I've got a ding-a-ling and a wide ting. So I've got a ling and a ting, okay? Mo mean ting. So then go back. Hopefully I can get them off the hook quickly. And slippy, slimy thing. Ding-a-ling, you're a slippery thing. Can you just move away? Now a bit further away than that. Thank you. Right, tide's coming in, rattling around my tripod. So let's move everything up a bit. Still haven't had a cup of tea. Nearly got one. Nearly got one, then the phone rang. And now I've got to do this. So we're slacking off the drag on that. We take the brake off on that side and we'll just walk it up. Put that back on. Tighten up the drag. Take up the slack. Take up the slack. Right, a cup of tea. I'm gonna have a cup of tea. Okay, so the multiplier rod is rattling away like a good one. Literally hit the water and started to rattle, so that's kind of whiting behaviour, isn't it? So let's wind it and see what's going on. Now, because it's mono on here, you've got to wind down till it's tight and then lift into it. to take that stretch out. Whereas with braid, you don't have to do that. Braid, just lift the rod and you're into the hook straight away. But seems a bit of weight on there, but could just be the weight dragging through the sand. But as I say, what we've been hoping for is a nice place. That would be the end of a perfect day, wouldn't it? Come down here and get a place. What have we got there? Something there. We've got. Oh, what have we got? We have got 2 whitings. 2 whitings. Yeah, the difference between using monofill and braid is with monofill you do have to wind down until you've taken all the elasticity out of the line, and then you have to do a big sweeping strike because otherwise you're not setting the hook. All you're doing is just pinging a bit of elastic. Whereas with braid you don't have to do that. In fact, if you did that with braid you would lose fish because you're pulling the hook out of their mouths. This is my scratching rig, and to be quite honest with you, I'm hoping that we're going to catch a place on this rig, but all we're catching is whiting. Definitely mental note to self, scratching rig, always use circle hooks on it because they are hooking themselves just in the corner of the mouth. Really nice, easy to remove. And they're not gutting hook like they would do if they were J hooks. We get these 2 whoops back in the water quickly, too sweet, while they can still swim. Catfish, swim in, swim in, swim in, yeah baby. Happy days. See this scratching rig. Well, this is my scratching rig. Whoops! It's actually, I originally tied it for sole fishing, but it's 3 hooks, swivels, trap swivels. The bottom is an imp. You can see that. Okay, so we've got an imp there at the bottom, which is our hook release. So the bottom hook clips into that, and then the 2 swivels above it are both cascade swivels. So they've got these little tag ends on them. So that's how you snag the hook above to that. Okay, and at the top of this rig, I've got a little drill bullet. Now my perception of this is it holds the whole line of hooks hard on the bottom, and that rolls backwards and forwards as well, and so that picks up a little bit of tide, a little bit of activity on the on the baits. I have got some Luma beads on that one. Got nothing on that one. It's probably because it's one I tied on the beach, and I got a bit of Luma tube on this one, so it just helps with a bit of attractant. And we'll put some fresh worm on that. Got breakaway leads, home produced breakaways, Gemini weights. So make sure that's clipped in place, because obviously we don't want that breaking out until we want it to break out. There's only 4.5 ounce leads. Now this rod really, that is a little bit underpowering the rod. It needs to be a 5 ounce lead really. So I need to make a mental note to self. I need to melt some 5 ounce breakaways. So that'll be a task for later in the week probably. Now we're only using little bits of worm, okay? So 1.5 inches of worm, and basically thread them all onto a needle. So 3 bits of worm on one needle. And if you haven't seen it, the needle's got a little tiny recess in the end of that, which is where you put the point of the hook. And then you just feed that short length of worm. Now actually this hook doesn't need rebaiting, so we'll keep that one as it is. Because I'm using circle hooks, there's a little beak on them which sort of tilts back a bit, which makes it quite difficult to do. You just have to be a little bit, do this at an angle. So basically, we put the point of the hook into that little recess on the end of the needle, and then you just feed the worm round on it, all the way past and over the knot. The knot is one of the things that helps keep that in place. And so you don't need to be messing around with any bait elastic or anything like that. The knot does that for you. And then, what do? Well, we hook the first one into the imp. And if you haven't seen how these imps work, basically the hook is hooked into there. There's a little tag in there, so when this splashes into the water, that releases the hook. Yeah. Very good, very effective. A little bit fiddly to put together, but once you've got them together, they stay together. That one hooks into the cascade. As does that one. So we've now got 3 baits all clipped down, so they're not going to flail around in the cast. So it means that the bait stays solid and it's not flailing around, it's not putting up too much resistance for the cast, and then we're going to whack that out. Now what I think I'll do is we'll do a pendulum cast, and if we see if we can't get that on video. So we'll move that down there, and guaranteed surefire way of ensuring we get a crack off. But anyway, here we go, last cast of the day if it is, with this rod. So the way I like to pendulum cast, I want the weight fairly long drop on this, okay? I've got my little bit of rubber inner tube to hold the spool so it doesn't slip out underneath my thumb and scorch my thumb. Position my feet in the position they want to be in at the end of the cast, but we're going to swing this out, 1, 2, and then turn and power stroke it. Now, that wasn't the best pendulum cast, I have to be said. It was a little bit sideways. But hey, I haven't done pendulum casting for over 20 years, and I'm getting back into it. And this rod is actually quite a high performance rod, so it's not very forgiving. So there we go. I quite like about Penn reels, they don't automatically shut the gearing off. You have to manually do it, which is the beauty of that, is it means it's not going to suddenly snap shut on you when you're casting. And Penn, there's the same on my fixed ball. You have to manually close the bail arm so that it's not going to close on you when you're casting, which would be a bit emotional. Right, it's been an absolutely great day back on the beach. I'm so stoked to be down here, and catching that little conger eel, well, that wasn't anticipated, and I'm really pleased with that. And just to finish it off, look who's come to join me on the beach. Here he is, Billy Bob the vlog dog. He wasn't down here earlier because there was too many people down here with walking dogs and what have you, but Marina's brought him down and he's come down to say hello to all his fans. All right, so Billy Bob, say hello to your fans. Hello, friends. Yeah, so Billy Bob is alive and well, and happy to be on the beach. And he came up and he gave me a good big kiss with tongues when he first got here, which was a bit of a shock. But yeah, happy days, happy days. So it's kind of getting colder now. It's been lovely. It's like a spring day. I mean, it's still winter. In theory, the first day of spring, depending on which calendar you look at, the first day of spring is 1st of March, so it's just over a week away. That's one type of first day of spring. There's also a first day of spring on the 22nd of March or something like that. So for whatever, 1st of March, first day of spring. Today has been like a spring day. It's starting to feel like February now. The temperature is dropping, the sun's going down. So I'm going to pack up and call it a night. Thank you very much for watching. Tight lines, stay sane, stay happy, stay healthy, stay fishy. Right, so we're winding the last rod, pack up for the night. Well, I have to say that I've heard some criticism of this reel that the mag knob is in the wrong place and it hurts. Well, I haven't noticed that.